And so today I want to remind you, and I want you to see that it is possible for you to pull value from wherever you want it to come from.
You are listening to the Beyond the Classroom podcast, a podcast for burnt out teachers who know something's gotta give. After teaching for 14 years and feeling completely burned out for way too long, in May of 2022, I made a big decision and left the classroom. I now help burnt out teachers like you take back balance and joy so you can wake up every day loving your life. In this podcast, we'll explore who you are beyond the classroom, whether you're considering leaving or wanting to make changes so you can fall in love with teaching again. Either way, I understand what it's like to be living a life that looks fun and cute on the outside. You know, summer's off, playing all day, off at 2 o'clock every day, but actually feels miserable and draining. I'm your host and coach, Sandy Patterson, and I'm so excited to help you step into your fullest potential and believe in that potential to make an impact on the world, not just survive each day. Are you ready? Let's do this.
Well, hello there, and welcome back to another episode of the Beyond the Classroom podcast. I am Sandy Patterson, your host and certified life and business coach. And I am so happy that you are here with me today for another episode of the podcast. Another beautiful day, another episode, lots to dig into here. Now, this episode today was inspired by a conversation that I had with a client this week. And this particular client has this idea for this business. It's something that she's had on her heart and on her mind for a long time. And she's ready to just kind of build it out, see what happens, put it into action, build something out of nothing, create something, and to see where it goes. And there's the possibility that this business could become her full-time income so that she can leave her teaching job, right? So she wants her business to become the way that she financially supports her family. So she's able to make the decision to walk away from the classroom. Now, there are lots of reasons why we decide that maybe teaching is not for us, but this is something that came up during this conversation that I think a lot of people probably have, because these thoughts, right, that teaching may not be our forever job can be very, very startling and can feel full of guilt and full of shame. And I just want to shed light on that. So no matter where you are in your journey, it's okay, no matter how you're feeling. I know when I left teaching, these thoughts, like that first time that I was like, wait a second, maybe I don't actually want to teach anymore. Maybe this profession isn't serving me anymore like I hoped it would. Those feelings can kind of catch you off guard. And then a lot of times, I think a lot of us try to like talk ourselves out of it, right? Because I know I went to school for many, many years and I spent thousands and thousands of dollars getting my teaching credential. I spent even more money and more time getting my master's and then getting even more credentials on top of the regular general ed credential that I had. So all of those things were done with the assumption that I would go to school, I would get a job teaching, and then that's what I would do for the rest of my career, right? Like I would retire teaching. That's what we do, right? That's what we anticipate and that's what we hope for. But that doesn't always work out like that for many, many different reasons, right? We could talk about this all day long, but everybody has their own reasons for wanting to leave the classroom. And no matter what that reason is, I'm guessing that you probably went into teaching thinking that it was going to be a forever thing. So again, these thoughts can kind of startle us, catch us off guard. And then once we sit with them for a while and we decide, we jump in and we say, okay, I think I'm actually ready to do this. I'm ready to make this change. I'm ready to try something new. I'm ready to take a different path than I had anticipated. There is this idea of your value. Okay. And this is kind of how this came up with this particular client of mine. She's working on getting her business up and running, launching it, and she knows what she needs to do. It's fairly simple, right? Well, I don't want to say simple, but it's simple. Like she knows what she needs to do. there was a block there. And after doing some digging and figuring out like, well, what's stopping you? Like, you told me all the things that you need to do, these next steps, like we broke it all down into smaller steps. What's the holdup? And the holdup for her was, well, I'm scared that if I leave teaching, where will I find my value? So let that sink in for a second. If I leave teaching, and you can replace the word teaching with whatever you want. If I leave whatever it is, we're going to talk about teaching today. If I leave teaching, where will I find my value? And this is an interesting thought because what it implies is that we are taught as teachers is that we get our value from outside of ourselves. I think we're taught this in many different aspects of our life, not only in teaching, but we're essentially looking outside of ourselves for validation and to determine our worth and our value. I remember when I left teaching, I had this fear, and it's funny saying this out loud now because it seems like it was so long ago and it seems like such a silly thought to me now. But I know that if I was thinking it when I was getting ready to leave, I know somebody else is probably thinking the same thing too. The thought was I was really, really nervous. So if I were to meet someone new, so like if I were to be introduced to my husband's coworkers, or I was introduced to a friend of a friend, or just out and about, whatever, you meet someone new, usually a question that always comes up is, well, what do you do? What do you do for a living? And I was terrified because I wasn't sure. I was like, if I'm not a teacher, what am I even going to say? If I can't tell people that I teach, what the heck am I supposed to tell them I do? Because nothing else seems as honorable as teaching, which I know is not true, but this is just the thought that I had. Because typically when you tell people that you're a teacher, or when I would tell people that I was a teacher, the response was really great. Like people would say like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. That's so fun. That's so cute. That sounds like such a great, fun, great thing. You know, you get it. You probably heard it before. When in reality, that wasn't the case for me, but I appreciated the response. I was getting value from that response from people. So it was like, if I strip this away from me, if I strip this teaching identity away from me, what the heck am I going to tell people? And I did do things in between leaving teaching and where I am now that didn't give me that purpose. And I think anybody that signs up to teach, I know this, I've never talked to one teacher who didn't truly, truly want to make a difference in people's lives. And I think that that's just a part of who we are. That's not going to go away ever. You're always going to have that need to help others and to be of service and to have a bigger purpose than you. And we all know that there are moments in teaching where we do really appreciate that value and that connection. Like you have a moment where you just know that you've made a difference in a student's life, or you make a really great connection with a family and you know that you are with purpose. That fulfills you. It makes you feel really, really good. And there's nothing wrong with these things. However, if we're looking only for value from what we do, it's a little bit ass backwards, right? Excuse my language. But think about this. If I'm gaining my value from how many families request to have me as a teacher that year, or by a Teacher of the Year award, or by how beautiful my classroom looks, those are all external things, right? I'm pulling my value based on those things. When really we want to flip this, and we're going to flip it on its head today, okay? Because we want to be able, when she said this to me, it honestly, it broke my heart, because if that's the only way that you feel like you can provide value in this world, you're going to keep running and running and running and trying to keep up on that hamster wheel. And really, for what? Like, for what? Yes, you made a difference in your students' lives, but 20 years down the line, my therapist told me this when I was working with her, and it's just stuck with me, and it'll probably stick with me forever. She said, 20 years down the line, Who's going to remember that you made a difference? Like, yeah, you might have some students that were like, oh yeah, I had, Mrs. Patterson, she was a great second grade teacher, or she was a great kindergarten teacher, whatever. But of the hundreds of students, probably not very many are going to really look back and be like, wow, she really, really made a difference. The people that 100% I know are going to think that 20 years down the line are my own kids and the people that are in my close circle, right? Like my close, tight-knit circle, not for my students. So flipping this around, right? And if we can understand that we get to decide where our value comes from. Our value does not have to come from test scores, from how our students perform, from how beautiful our classroom is, from how many compliments we get from parents or from colleagues. Our value gets to be determined by however we want it to be determined, okay? So this is important to think about as you move through this. And maybe you're in the same position as my client. Maybe you are like, okay, I have this idea. I'm ready to start this business, or I'm ready to take this new path, but I'm scared. I'm scared that my value isn't like, I will have no value. I will have no purpose if I leave teaching. I want you to ask yourself, is that actually true? And the answer is probably no. It is not true, because you have people that you are and will make a difference for every day, even if it is just one other person in your life. So think about that for a second. And I will tell you too, I'm an open book about this. When I left teaching, while I was teaching, I started a virtual assistant business. So I was supporting teacher authors writing curriculum. Okay. So I enjoyed doing that. I did. And it was kind of just my means, it was my way of financially supporting and contributing to my family as I transitioned out of the classroom. So I knew that I couldn't just leave and then not do anything. Like, I needed to be doing something. So I started that business. I got that going. It was very successful. I just had moments. So I left teaching and then I was doing the virtual assistant work full time. I had moments where I was like, am I making a difference? Am I actually, and I know that I was helping my clients. I know I was helping them build their businesses, and I know they appreciated me. It just wasn't that deeper level of value and of purpose that I needed to feel at the end of the day. So I recognized really quickly that that wasn't going to be my forever job. It was a good for right now job, and it was perfect, and I enjoyed supporting those people, my clients, but I just knew I needed something on a deeper level. And for me, that's where coaching came in. And so today I want to remind you, and I want you to see that it is possible for you to pull value from wherever you want it to come from. So now my value comes from supporting women who are in these beginning phases of building businesses, to give them the freedom, the financial freedom, the time freedom, the location freedom to literally do whatever they want and to create a life that they only see on Instagram, or they only see other people and they think, oh, that's great for them, but that wouldn't work for me. Because they're scared that their value is so deeply tied to teaching. It is not. You get to decide. And I also want to remind you today that there are other ways to fill that need to make a difference in the world and in your life in other ways. Okay? Through coaching, I have found so much value and so much purpose and so much joy in a way that doesn't drain me every day, right? I don't walk away from my computer at the end of the day and feel completely exhausted and like I have nothing else to give. I found a way to still fulfill that need to be of service to others. I'm just doing it in a different way that feels a lot more aligned with the life that I want to live, that allows me to be present now with my kids more, that allows me to create space, to be creative, and to connect with people on a deeper level. You get to decide where your value comes from. Your value can come from moments with your family, moments with your friends, laughter with your friends. That's where the value should and needs to come from in order to live this really, really fulfilled and purposeful life. So, as long as we're holding on to this idea that teaching is the only way for us to value ourselves and there's no other way, the longer we're going to get in our own way of jumping in and creating that life that you are dreaming about, which is 100% possible. You just have to commit and decide and then move forward. And really, I was talking with this client. We were talking about this whole idea of, oh, like I got Teacher of the Year. I got this Teacher of the Year award. But for what? Like, it's not like she got a raise. It's not like she got less of a workload. It's not like she moved up on the pay scale. It's not like, for what? Like, you just get this recognition, but really, in 20 years from now, is that really going to make a difference? And I know some people will probably fight me on this, and that is okay. I do believe that teaching is an amazing profession, and I believe that teachers really are making a difference. I adore my kids' teachers, and I am so appreciative of them because I feel happy sending my kids to school, and I know they're taken care of, and I know that they are safe. But I also remind them too, when I sit down with them at parent-teacher conferences and they're going over, test scores and iReady scores and at grade level I stop them and I say, I just want to remind you that I appreciate you no matter what. I know you have a lot on your plate, and outside of academics, I appreciate you just being here and caring about my child. That's all I really care about. And all I really want my kids at the end of the day is I don't care about test scores. I don't care about how they're performing. I don't care about their grades on their report cards. I care about if they're good people. And I appreciate these teachers in a way making a difference. But I also want to remind you, if you love teaching, great, and it's working for you and you feel really, really wonderful and it's all good, then perfect. I appreciate you. So many people appreciate you, and you are making a difference. Here's the thing. If it's draining you or if it's not serving you, then it's okay to admit that and to walk away from it. It is okay. No matter where you are, again, on this continuum or on the spectrum of teaching, I just want you to know that if it's not serving you, if anything, this could go for teaching, a relationship, a whatever, anything. If it's not serving you, you don't have to stay because your value is tied to whatever it is. You can find value outside of whatever that is. In this case, we're talking about teaching. So it's okay if you love teaching. It's okay if you are feeling burnt out. It's okay if you're ready to admit, I'm ready to step away. I'm ready to try something new. I want to build a business. I want to create this life that I'm craving that I think is possible. It is all possible. So I would be so curious. I am so curious to hear what your thoughts are on this. It's a topic that I think, again, needs to be addressed because oftentimes we don't talk about these things, right? This isn't like a normal, like everyday conversation, but it's something that I encourage you to really think about. And today I challenge you to think about where you are getting your value from. Is it from your job? Is it from a relationship? Is it from something else? Decide, I guess you can decide where it's coming from, and then decide if that's where you want it to continue to come from. I know for me, my value again comes from quality time spent with my kids and from truly my presence with my family. For me, that is the biggest place that I get my value from now. It wasn't always like that. And it was a lot of work in between leaving teaching and letting these old beliefs and letting these old ideas go. But I will say that over here on this other side, where I get to decide where my value comes from, it's a lot more peaceful, and I feel a lot more present, and I feel a lot happier, honestly. And again, I still feel with purpose at the end of the day. I'm still a teacher at heart. I still teach bar, I coach. These things are really, really aligned to teaching. It's just doing it in a different way. So I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Let me know. You can hop on over to Instagram or you can shoot me an email anytime. I am around and I love connecting with you. I love hearing what resonates with you, your thoughts, what you agree with, what you disagree with, what you're going to try out, or what comes up for you throughout these episodes. That's really why I'm here. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would so appreciate if you could leave a quick review. It literally takes 2 seconds to just tap the stars. And what that does is it helps get these episodes into more ears, amazing women and teachers just like you who are ready to take a stand, who are ready to decide where their value comes from, despite what they've been taught or what we've learned through societal conditioning, and who are ready to build a business and create that financial freedom so you can do whatever the heck you want. So you guys, thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next episode. I can't wait. And until then, stay safe and love yourself. Okay, bye you guys.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Beyond the Classroom. If you know something has to change and you're ready to take the next step to make it happen, whether it's in or out of the classroom, let's talk it through together. Schedule a no-obligation chat with me and we can talk through where you're stuck, how to get you unstuck, and how to keep you moving forward. Schedule your free call today by clicking the link in the show notes. I can't wait to connect with you.